Hello and welcome to the Buena Vista Project, a podcast about Mexican-American history, politics, cultura y más, coming to you from San Antonio, the Mexican-American capital of the United States. I'm your co-host, Michael Quintanilla.
And I'm your co-host, Elaine Ayala. Our guests today are San Antonio authors Carmen Tafoya and Lupe Ruiz Flores. Lupe, author of The Pecan Sheller, just received the 2026 Pura Belpre Award from the American Library Association, recognizing Latino representation in children's and young adult literature. Let's give her a little round of applause. Yay, Lupe. Thank you for going to Chicago and accepting this incredible award.
Congratulations, Lupe. Carmen served as the inaugural Poet Laureate of San Antonio and then as Texas Poet Laureate. She's the author of more than 40 books, Carmen. Congratulations on that.
She's a quick writer.
I know. The most recent of which is fresh off the press, The Donkey Lady. It's right here, a graphic parable. Fascinating. One is a West Side Story that fictionizes the 1938 Pecan Sheller strike, and the other book is a story of an urban legend on San Antonio's South Side, my hood, Carmen. And many people don't think it's fiction.
Well, it's not fiction.
Okay, well, this is good. We'll get to that. There's a lot we want to get to, Carmen and Lupe, but let's begin with a quick overview of the stories that you're bringing not only to middle schoolers and young readers, but to the rest of us who like these new works. Carmen, you go first.
Thank you. I'm just delighted to be part of this podcast, which I think is historic and is keeping our spirit alive. I think that it's really capturing that which is puro San Antonio and that which is really so important to the survival of our nation. People who've heard me talk about my writing know that I always talk about writing as part of the survival kit that we give our next generation. Mm-hmm. Culture is a survival kit.
Absolutely.
That's why civilizations survive, because the parents tell the children, don't fall off the cliff. Don't pick up a rattlesnake. Don't sit in the middle of the highway in the busy part of the day. Don't do things that could be of danger to you. We want our kids and our grandkids to survive, and that's why we tell them stories. And
this story
is one of those stories. I first heard it in 1959. I was 8 years old.
Really?
Wow.
And my little buddies, it's a South Side story, but of course a lot of West Siders, where I grew up, had cousins that lived on the South Side. So somebody had gone
we always
home.
Talk about that. We always talk.
Somebody went home on the weekend and heard these stories and came back and told me about the Donkey Lady. And like any piece of folklore, because whether something is fiction or nonfiction, once it's out there and people are talking about it, it changes. It goes from person to person. So you have to look, first of all, at what are the commonalities in the story. This story really happened, but we don't.
And just tell us a glimpse of what the story is.
What I heard, and the only three things that have maintained constant through all the versions is, number one, a lady lived in a house out in the country in the rancho south of San Antonio, and two, she was burned
horribly,
and three, to this very day, if you go to the Donkey Lady Bridge and you try to cross it, you will hear this coming out of there. And that is the Donkey Lady warning you not to come across.
You're so good at sounds.
I learned to be a donkey while I was writing this because I had to hear it.
Can we hear it one more time?
Well, when we were reading it, I'm talking about the illustrator, Thelma Muray, that wonderful, wonderful artist, and the publisher, Juan Tejeda, and we would study it and we would edit it together. I mean, they would say, what does this mean? Do you want this changed? Do you really want this like this? And so I had to read this out loud. And so for me, since it's a story of resistance, of her resisting these people who were trying to take her land,
Which is
I
such a
had to,
common
she
story.
says, no,
They wanted her
sir,
land.
no, sir, no, sir, this is mine, and here I'll stay where the wind and the trees and the birds know my name.
Oh, beautiful.
yes.
And so that,
Beautiful.
as the story progresses and as things happen, bad things happen, sometimes unplanned, and the way I have it told here, because it does involve older children and mature adults only. Immature adults shouldn't read this part. but since it involves children, you have to be kind of gentle about how you present reality,
Right.
but you still have to present reality for them. And so in this story, they didn't intend, they went to her house trying to scare her away so that she would leave, and they would have this wonderful land and these beautiful vegetables that she would grow on that land.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing led to another, and before they knew it, they had set fire to the house, and she's inside.
Yes.
So when she comes out, this is where I had to do my practicing. She's saying, "No, sir, no, sir."
Oh,
no,
so
sir."
she's losing her
And so it
breath.
progresses. She's burning. Her face is melting. Her
So-
eyes are long, and
That's so vivid.
she can barely breathe. And so that's the way it progressed. And finally, when you get to the final modern day, when you try and cross the bridge, it's, see if I could do this. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Which
Yeah.
turns
So
into the
good.
sound of a donkey.
donkey,
And
yeah.
I tell people, they think a donkey goes hee-haw, hee-haw, because
No,
that's
they
why you're right.
don't.
And donkeys don't go like that. They have this raucous sound. It's a chest. It's a throaty, painful, I'm a hard worker and look at what you're making me do
Yeah.
Yes.
kind of sound. It's like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was what I was trying to transmit
Yeah.
in here.
And
Lupe, let's tell us about your story.
This is my book, The Pecan Chiller, my first novel. And my primary source was my mother. She was a pecan chiller, and so was my grandmother. I talk about the strike of 1938. My mother was not involved in that. She got out, my grandmother took her out of the factory right before that happened. And the story is not about Emma Tenayuca, although I do mention her in the story because she was a labor activist, and she urged the people to unite and fight and form a union wanting them to know that people have power, numbers have power. So after she left, because she was threatened by many bad things that were going to happen to her, she went to California. This story is about a young lady, a young girl, teenager, about 14, who doesn't want to really be a pecan chiller. She has other things in mind. She wants to be a writer. She wants to finish school. And because of dire circumstances at home, her mother makes her go to the factory to work with her. And she hates it. But she makes friends, and she tries to make the best of it, and she's always wanting to figure out how to get back in school. Well, things start getting worse and worse and worse. The pecan sheller people hear that the owners are going to cut the wages even more. So that's
Which happened also in Emma's time.
That's right. That happened in Emma's time. So the young girl Petra, my character, is the one who finally says, "I'm not going to take this. This is terrible," because people were getting sick with tuberculosis because of the dust, the pecan dust. They were getting low wages already, and now the owners wanted to take that away. So her mother wants to get her out of there. She thinks it's not good for her and all that, but Petra decides to stay, and she organizes. She has been to one of Emma's rallies. She organizes the workers. She shows them and demonstrates how to rally against this injustice. And she's put in jail, and she's only 14. And this really happened in real life, that young people as young as 14 were put in jail. After she gets out of jail, she goes home, and her mother is very upset with her, and so she goes to live with a worker, an older lady. After a while, and she goes back to work, and back to the strike, and after a while, the workers are worried because they're not making any money, they're not getting any food, they're not, getting anything. So the people around San Antonio rally, the churches rally, and give them food, neighbors give them food, and the news travels all the way to Washington. So what comes out of it is a good thing, because in 1938, Congress passed the Fair Labor Act law, which would guarantee the workers 25 cents an hour. And they were elated. They had never made this much money in their lives. And so in the Pecan shuttle bosses, some of them stopped the work. Some of them closed down. Some of them brought in new equipment, so they would have fewer people working there. And so a lot of the Pecan shutters were without work, so they had to go find other jobs. And so this story is about how a young girl rallies for a cause. She goes against everything that she at first didn't believe in, and then she finds out that there is power in numbers.
That's right.
And
That's
so,
right.
She finally goes home, makes up with her mom. Her mom comes out and supports the strike, and it has a happy ending. So that's what the story is about.
Lupe, I'm so glad you mentioned the churches got involved, because I know for a fact that Emma Tenayuca attended La Trinidad United Methodist Church, and they were very much involved in that. I'm so sure. Can both of you, Lupe and Carmen, tell us also what lessons are your books teaching young readers especially, and tell us your thinking and focusing on those lessons?
Lupe could go first this time.
Okay, well,
The lessons.
I feel that a lot of people didn't know about what had happened in 1938 here in San Antonio. And once they read my book, they realize, a lot of people have realized that this did happen, that this actually was going on, that people were actually getting cents per hour, making hardly any money. So I feel that just letting the young people know where we come from,
Yes.
what went on with our elders, because my mother was a Pecan shell, and she's, and my grandmother was also one. So just knowing that they were part of it. It's not been that long.
No, it hasn't.
Since that strike. And just knowing that strike brought about a law that guaranteed them 25 cents an hour back in those days, and the people were elated. I think young people need to know what went on before their time.
Yes. Carmen.
Yeah, I think we live in a world where so many people are being ostracized for being different.
Yeah.
Picked on, bullied, hurt.
Harassment and bullying all the time.
And this story of the donkey lady is one opportunity to show people that no human being is less than another, that differentness does not mean the person is evil. And ultimately, because of the way, the legend was just a legend. Most people knew very little about the donkey lady. They knew those three things, but they didn't really know what happened. And in modern times, I found them confusing the donkey lady with La Llorona.
Yes.
And mixing the two together to, oh, she killed her children, and no, wrong story. So what I had to do was bring it into the present day to see what's the lasting impact of this story. What's the after the story? Long after the donkey lady lived and died, why is the story being told? And basically, it's that the spirit lives on and that good eventually conquers evil.
Oh, such a good lesson. How are your stories, as differently as they are, resonating, especially with Mexican American readers? What are you hearing from them about your books? And let's, Carmen, you can go first this time.
Yeah, we have had 2 presentations of the book here in San Antonio. One at the World Heritage Center, which was like a sneak preview, but it was on the south side where people came and said, "This is ours." They were reclaiming, they felt joyful, they felt justified, they felt she's ours, and we have a chance to reclaim her humanity instead of defining her as a villain because she looked, ugly from the burns that she was not responsible for inflicting on herself. So instead of her being a demon, they were able to reclaim her as theirs, as a person who appreciated the environment and the trees and the birds and the plants that she spoke to and protected.
I was at one of your sessions,
and you were at the one at the
Esperanza, and people were standing up and taking ownership of the story.
Yes.
And then I love the man who was from another town and said, "Hey, we had a donkey lady."
Yeah. Well, she was in a rancho, so there were other nearby towns, and
you have
so
one coming
there
up,
was a
don't you?
sense of empowerment and a sense of just there being a joyful ability to say, we come from someplace, and all of us are, have something good about us. No beauty is lost. Every human being,
they feel so
creature.
validated by
Yes.
this
Yes.
story. Okay, Lupe, tell us what people have said about. We know what the American Library Association said about your book, and they loved it. And so, but tell us what you're hearing from.
Well, I just came back from Pura Belpre convention, and some people, I was signing books after the celebration, and some people came up and said that they had read the book and they had cried. And I cried too when I was writing it. I had to put it away for a little while because my mother had, been involved in some of it. So that made me cry. I feel that Mexican American people, Latinos, and all those people have stories to tell, and we just need to seek them out, find them out, and let the younger people know what went on before their time, because everything's been swept under.
That's right.
And nobody knew about this strike.
And the next question is really about that.
Yeah, so this isn't really a question about books, but related to books like yours that tell a diverse story to diverse students. The Texas State Board of Education just made national news by adopting new controversial social studies curriculum that will emphasize state and U.S. history, critics say, in glorified ways, and will require Bible passages on reading lists.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on how this new criteria will affect books like yours, and more importantly, how they'll impact young Mexican Americans. Lupe, you go first, and keep it real short. We're running out of time.
Okay. Well, I'm a writer, and I write to connect with the readers. So as far as that goes, I think the fact that readers are connecting with my writing, with my book, they should take that into consideration.
If we want to build a strong civilization and a strong society, we need to have our young people prepared to deal with issues of ethics and character, and to be able to see the broadest diversity that we can of stories, so they can say, what would I do if? They have a chance to study what is right, what is good, and what is beneficial to a society, if they can have a broad diversity. If the curriculum is narrowed to just one perspective or one culture or one race, we're doing our kids the biggest disfavor that we can do them.
We're telling them their stories aren't important, and that's so troubling.
And we're telling that to the white students too. We're
right.
telling that you better not
That's right.
differ. There is one story to be told.
That's
and
right.
if you differ in any way from our standard hero and heroine, you are not as good as other people. So we're narrowing their chances of survival no matter what color they are, no matter what culture they come from. We are narrowing their ability to live in a strong civilization.
Thank you so much for joining us, Carmen Tafoya and Lupe Ruiz Flores, and continued success.
And thank you all for listening. You can find the Buena Vista Project on buenavistaproject.com, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. We'll be back soon with another episode. Until then, Michael,
Hasta
La Buena Vista.